morning, everyone. Thank you, Tori. It's a pleasure to see you all here today. So my name's Liz Elam and I'm principal at Abbey College in Manchester. And I'm here to talk to you today with Jamie Edwards about our very exciting new programme to start in January 2021, which is our academic studies with basketball training. So as you can see from the photograph here, that's Jamie and myself. And we are teaming up with Jamie, who's recently taken over Manchester Giants. So he's going to tell you a little bit about the Manchester Giants and himself first, and then I'm going to talk to you about the academic side of things. We're going to watch a little video about Manchester Giants. Jamie's going to talk about the basketball playing side, and then we can sum up and ask questions. So I'm going to hand over to Jamie now. Jamie, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. Really good to meet everybody. My name's Jamie Edwards, and I've recently taken over what is an iconic basketball club here in Manchester. The club plays in the BBL, which is the British Basketball League, and many years ago, 23 to 25 years ago, played in a very big arena here in Manchester. And the coach at the time was a gentleman by the name of Nick Nurse. And Nick today is the head coach of last year's NBA champion, the Toronto Raptors. So the club had this iconic status in Britain, and unfortunately over the past 8 years has not been performing very well. And I've come in February with a plan and a vision to take the club right back to the top of British basketball in what is one of the best sporting cities in Europe and maybe in the world, with the two iconic football teams that we have here in Manchester. And so, with basketball being a global sport, and the city really deserves having a great basketball team as well. And so my background is, my heritage is helping elite sportsmen think differently. So in the space of sports psychology, and I've worked with and do work with, even currently today, some of the best sportsmen at what they do. So people and players like Gareth Bale from Real Madrid, who's just come back to London, Joe Hart, the former Manchester City and England goalkeeper. And I currently today work with Jordan Pickford, who's the England #1 goalkeeper. So lots of famous footballers and sports stars. And I also train the brains of the members and some of the young players at Wimbledon Tennis Club as well. So in terms of this collaboration with Abbey College is very exciting because what we get to do is not just from an academic side help the students with their academics, but we also utilize sport, and in particular basketball, to help your students go to a different level. And so that it's a combination of academics and sports, and developing a more rounded individual. And I've spent 25 years training brains of sports people and businesses, but also working with education as well. So it's a very exciting opportunity to develop a young person on the basketball court, but more so off it.
Okay, thanks, Jamie. So what I'm going to talk about now is the academic side. Now, Abbey College Manchester celebrates its 30th anniversary this year, and I've worked at the college for 21 years. And one of the things I think is most important is to develop new programs and develop new initiatives to serve the students and serve the market. Now, in terms of the program of study, what we're looking at here is a course that is unique. We're looking at a course where students from 14 years old and over, that's boys and girls, who have a passion now for basketball, can study GCSEs or A-levels, or indeed the International Foundation Programme alongside basketball. Now, obviously, we're talking about a passion for basketball. It doesn't matter if students aren't really, really top players or whatever. They just need to be wanting to train and do that. And I'll talk a little bit about how sport and academic study can complement each other later. So what programme can be studied will depend on the age of the student, their previous educational record and level of English, because this is open to students both in the UK and international students as well. So what are the key features of the programme? Well, basically, what you're going to be able to achieve through this programme is to get your academic achievements. You're going to get an academic qualification in GCSEs, A-levels or International Foundation programme whilst pursuing basketball. That means that the way the programme works is that you have academic classes each morning, and then in the afternoon, you do structured basketball coaching sessions. And that allows each individual to develop their own pace. You will get professionally qualified coaches delivering the basketball training, as well as competitive match analysis. Jamie will talk about all that a bit more later. But in essence, what we're talking about here is being able to combine the academic and the sporting prowess. Now, here we see something at Abbey College that we use as a framework for our sort of structuring our thoughts around education. First of all, the routine of getting to lessons, developing a good routine, rigor, going deeper into what you're doing and getting to that higher level. Responsibility, starting to take on board the advice you're given, taking responsibility for your learning, developing resilience when things don't always go perfectly right, and reflecting on what you're doing. Now, this is really important because when you do sport, and it's been found in many cases that students that do sports alongside academic studies actually improve in both at a greater rate. And we see how the complementary side of routine and rigor actually allows students to be stretching their routine. It allows them to develop this understanding of what rigor means, both on the sports field and both in the classroom. It enhances responsibility. You know, when you're in a team, when you're playing as a team and you've got decisions to make at, very short notice when you're playing a match. And that also gives you that responsibility in the classroom for how you think and how you take on board advice. And as we know, you don't always win. You don't always win. So you have to develop your resilience. And the same as when you're doing academic study, you don't always get all the marks in the test. So what we see is those combinations together. And I think it encourages a lot of reflection as well for students to look at the transferable skills between the academic studies and the sport. And I've got a couple of case studies to talk to you about now, because as some of you may know, we've been running academic studies with football training now for 3 years. This is our 3rd year. And last year, the first students graduated from that program. Now, this is Rashid, and he comes from Malaysia, and he did A-levels over 2 years. And he did football training. In the first year, he progressed, he studied football every day. He did training every day. And even through until the Christmas sort of February time, he was still playing 4 afternoons a week. And then he would have taken his exams, obviously, apart from COVID, but he still got his centre assessed grades, and he got fantastic grades, and he's gone on to Manchester University to study chemical engineering. And I think what you can see from his quote there is that he's become more confident during the programme, and everyone's been really supportive. He was taught great skills about organising and planning that will help me well in my future. And I think that's exactly the kind of skills we want to develop. And he will carry on playing football, at a good standard at Manchester University. Now, our second case study, Mukhtar, he's from Nigeria. He joined us in the first year of A-level, and then he moved into our International Foundation programme. And he played football every day right the way through. And he's gone on to the University of Nottingham to study civil engineering. So again, you can see here students that are playing at a very competitive level, that have developed their skills of football. And you see here the way that he mentions that his technical skills have been required in the game that have developed, but his communication skills on and off the pitch has given him a much more ability to communicate, and has given him an insight into what being a professional footballer is all about. Now, I think what you can see here is both these boys have been highly successful in both their academics And this has been enhanced through the football training. And indeed, the football training has enhanced their academics and their destinations. So what we see is this very popular programme. And in actual fact, what's happened for the football training is we started with a couple of students in the first year, went up to 5 or 6 by the end. And then this last 2 years, we've held 20 to 25 students doing this programme, highly popular and very successful. And that's why I was so excited when Jamie approached me about developing the basketball programme. And what we're going to do now is we're going to watch a little video to introduce Manchester Giants, and then Jamie's going to take over and talk a lot more now about the actual coaching side of everything. So I hope you'll enjoy this little video. I think it's really cool and it gives you a good impression. Okay, thank you.
So welcome back. That really excites me to watch that video, because it says a lot about what this program is going to be about. You saw there were some images of some young players who are of the age of GCSE students, and then there are some young players who have currently just been signed to the team, to the professional team, who are of the age of 18 and 19 years old, and 2 or 3 of them are some of the best players in the country. And part of that was this club had never really invested in bridging the gap between what is youth and academy basketball to the professional game, and what that means to any young person who's coming to the academy, it means that there is now a pathway from youth basketball all the way through to the potential of being a professional in Manchester. What else really excites me about watching that video again is that you may have seen an image of a player who was in a suit and tie, and he's one of he's going to be one of the main players this year. His name is Jack Hudson, and Jack's story is he started off in Manchester. He's from Liverpool, but he played his youth basketball in Manchester. But Jack always wanted to be a lawyer. And very often the challenge is if you pursue a professional career is that you have to be just a full-time professional. But Jack was academically inclined and wanted to pursue his profession as well as a basketball career as well. And so today, by day, Jack is a lawyer in Liverpool, and then by night, he's a professional basketballer. And for me, that is it's a reflection of what this basketball club is about today. It's about the two being parallel, that I can have a player who wants to pursue a career in his professional world, but also wants to pursue an athletic career as well. This coaching program is going to take place at the new home of the Manchester Giants. The new home of the Manchester Giants is the National Basketball Performance Centre. It's one of the top 3 basketball facilities in the UK and has only been open around 3 to 4 years. The Performance Centre will be the home of the Abbey and Manchester Giants collaboration. So the students will study in the morning, and then in the afternoon they'll be transported to the venue, which is the same place where the first team will be training. We have something which is called the Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club is 2 to 3 times a week. Any player in the club can attend a 6:30 in the morning basketball session, which is geared to, if they want to do extra, it's almost like having extra lessons. If they want to have extra coaching, then that is available to any of the players in the club. They'll be coached by experienced National League coaches. There's a group of coaches that I call the librarians. Many students don't really know what a librarian is because they get most of their information from Google. But as you will know, the librarian is the person who has the knowledge, and they look after all the knowledge in the school. And I have a group of coaches who I call the librarians, and they're very experienced. And I wish I was a young player again, being in the hands of some of the coaches that are going to be available to the young people of this basketball academy now. The players will also have game analysis and individual training plans. And game analysis will be if your students are very interested in a career in basketball, then it's very important that they get measured on what they're doing. So it's not just that they're coming to play, that they will be analyzed and there will be a plan for them. Just like there's an academic plan for them, there'll be a basketball plan for them. There'll be competitive matches against other colleges in the region and other academies. And depending on their basketball ability, there will be a team or a location for them to be able to be matched with the right ability level. So if they do come in and they have a high basketball standard, then we have a team and we have a pathway for them. And if it's just that they're very passionate about basketball and they're interested in just playing it through enrichment, then we also have a pathway for them as well. Mental skills is very important, as it's my heritage of training brains of elite sportsmen. And a big part of this program is developing mental skills, not just for their basketball, but also, as Liz said, in the 5 R's, the complement of, my interest is we're developing the student, we're developing the athlete, but more importantly, the biggest game of all is the game of life. And that's how sports really works is, and as you see in this picture here, this was a group of, these were a group of aspiring professional footballers who spent 3 days with me every pre-season, and we're actually studying not what they do as athletes, but studying who they need to become. If they say they want to be, let's say, a lawyer, well, who do you need to become? What type of person do you need to become if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be an engineer? Because my belief is that everybody has the ability to have those qualifications, but what's going to help you stand out is going to be that mental approach to your profession or your career, and more importantly, to your life. We have a belief at Train Brain and at the Manchester Giants that if you can apply this outside of the sporting arena, then you can apply it in the sporting arena. So it's a combination of the two, and that's why it's very exciting that the academics and the basketball are going to be coming together. I think that's all from me, and I'm oh, so just to add to that, so the opportunities. So what are the opportunities for a student coming to Manchester to join this program? Well, there are league games, so it's not just basketball training. There's the application into league games. There's an individualized program, one that's going to be, I will be personally watching over all of the students and all of the players in our program. There'll be expert coaching from the librarians and from some of the most qualified basketball coaches in the region. There's a pathway from the college to university and to the professional level if their ability does lead them to that way. One of the really exciting parts about this opportunity for the young people coming to Manchester is work experience and sports marketing. We have a volunteer program where the students will have access to the club, and we have a digital academy. We also have sports marketing expertise. So on my team, and people who I've coached personally through their career, are some of the best sports marketing executives in the country, one of whom is David Beckham's commercial director. Another is the managing director of a global sports marketing company. And I say this because very often, as you will be aware, it's a student or a young person having access and the opportunity to be able to open doors in a career is as important as the qualifications that they have. And my interest is to put students and young people in an environment where they do have access and are able to hear the stories of how somebody actually created those opportunities in their career. And I think that's in many ways is as important as what they're learning as to how they're going to apply it in the real world. And I guess one of the exciting parts of this as well is that they will get tickets to come and watch the Manchester Giants play when we've got this this opportunity to have fans back in stadia here in the UK. So all in all, it's an opportunity from the GCSE level right the way through. We're excited to see your students on this journey as well.
Thanks, Jamie. It sounds so exciting. I mean, every time I hear it, you know, you just feel what a brilliant opportunity this is. So what we're doing is we're recruiting students for this programme from January 2021. So basically, the first students that can enrol with us would be doing an 18-month GCSE programme or an 18-month International Foundation programme. So we can be taking students from 14 plus. Now, you're probably thinking, you know, how's the college operating at the moment? We know that we're still in the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, we opened our doors to students in September, and we have face-to-face lessons in the morning. And for students doing the football and the basketball moving forward, they will be doing their training in the afternoon. And under the guidelines, we can continue coaching indoors for basketball. So all the safety measures are in place. We've been operating the college very successfully. We're nearly moving towards half term, and you know, everything is going really well. So I know that people will still have concerns over safety, but I can assure you that being in Manchester, being at Abbey College is as safe as being anywhere. And I think that applies through into our boarding as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. So we're open, we're ready to go, and you can join us in January. Now, as well, in 2021 for January, to complement the academic studies with sports, we are actually introducing a sport qualification for the International Foundation Programme. So this is an opportunity for students who are particularly interested in the sport to do modules, as you can see there, they're listed here: sports, performance and analysis, the human body and sport, professional athletes, fitness, practical sports leadership, and sport as a vehicle for change. So those are the full 6 units. But what students can opt to do is they could do 3 units from the sport and then study that along with business studies, for example, biology, for example, or another strand to complement that would move them forward to a university pathway. So we feel that bringing these together adds a very neat and nice package for people academically and in terms of sport, which will complement each other well. So that's our new sport programme. That will be available for students doing the 18-month foundation programme from January. And from next September 2021, we'll be rolling that out as a 2-year international foundation programme or as a 1-year international foundation programme. And moving forward, we're looking to develop a level 2 programme as well for GCSE students as an alternative. Now, obviously, if you come to Manchester and it's not your home city, then you're going to need somewhere to live. So for students who are over 16, you can board at Riverside House. Now, Riverside House is only a 15-minute walk away from the college. At the current time, we are busing the students in and out for safety reasons. In general terms, there are about 6 rooms in each flat, and each room is an ensuite study bedroom. It's very well equipped, it's very modern. We provide breakfast, we provide a packed lunch, and we provide a hot evening meal. There's high-speed internet connection, we have 24-hour security, and we have house parents to look after the students. So lots of our football students currently live in Riverside House. The students who are over 16, that's part of the package price that you can get for tuition, for the basketball and the accommodation. And there's an outside recreation area as well, including a basketball court. Now, for those students who are younger, or indeed those students who would like to live with a family, then we can do what we call home from home boarding. So that's living with a host family, living with a homestay family, a local Manchester family. Generally, students under 16 have to live with a host family, but older students can as well. And what we do is we've got a lot of experienced homestay families, and we match those appropriately to the students. For example, we have host families from a range of cultural backgrounds. We have homestay families who are interested in sport, Homestay families will take students to places, and generally it's very familial atmosphere. So it can be very much a home from home. And some of our younger football players, I mean, they love living with their homestay families, and they really develop by doing that. And of course, the English is something that develops very quickly as well. That's another benefit of playing sport. But alongside living with the homestay family, that development, that immersion in the English language. And of course, the homestay families support their students. And at the moment, they are they're giving their students lift into and from college for safety reasons. They provide them with all the food they require and general study and being part of the family. And as I said, a lot of the hosts love sport as well. And so that works very, very well. Okay, so in summary, looking at a student with boarding, an international student with boarding, then the price for this programme from January to June is stated there, £20,560, which includes all the tuition, academic, all the basketball training and development, your Giants basketball teamwear, living with Riverside House in boarding or with a homestay family, and basic insurance. So all of our courses available with basketball, as I said, from January, it will be the 18-month GCSE and the 18-month International Foundation Programme. And this is available to boys and girls 14 plus for the GCSE and 16 plus for the International Foundation Programme. As always, you will get detailed academic reports regularly, as well as reports on basketball playing. So that's a kind of summary of what's on offer. So I think we're going to move now to the opportunity to ask questions. We thank you for listening, and we'd be very happy to take some questions. And I think Tori is going to kind of pull those together, and she may have had a few in advance as well. But if anyone's got any questions, please send those through. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Liz and Jamie. That was really, really interesting to hear everything there, and yeah, as you say, some really exciting opportunities there, I think, that are available to all the students on the course. So yeah, I have got a few questions that have come in advance. One is about I suppose it's kind of level of basketball, really. What if it's sort of somewhat a son-daughter student who has really only just started playing basketball, but want to develop their skills? Is this something that the course is suitable for?
I guess that's for me, that question, Tori.
Sorry, Jamie,
and not Liz. Yeah, if somebody has just started playing basketball, then there is a provision for that. We have lots of young people in Manchester who are just starting to play basketball. In fact, we've just recruited a 14-year-old who is 6'5", and he's just been playing on a park, and he's just started his first structured coaching sessions. So we're geared up to develop the skills of somebody who's picked up a ball for the first time. I'd be very interested, though, in terms of in your market, that I think there'll be lots of people who will have played basketball internationally, just because it's a global sport. So I can't imagine anybody coming to Abbey in January would be only just starting basketball at 14. In fact, globally, just to add to that, certainly in Asia, it's one of the NBA's biggest markets. So, I just would be very surprised. So, if there are any aspiring basketball players, certainly I'm 5'6", so I'm looking for some taller basketball players.
That's great. Thank you very much for that, Jamie. And then this is possibly for you, Jamie, from your experience, maybe a little bit Liz as well, that if a student is really, really passionate about the game, then wants to move on to university or continue professionally, what sort of support can we give them to help them develop and progress along the route that they want?
Liz, you go first, and then I'll speak from a basketball perspective.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so obviously we do UCAS support, that's university support for students looking at the kind of courses they might want to do. And as we know, there are some universities that do specialise in sport. So, for example, we have some links with, say, Newcastle University, who allow students to do their degree programmes, but continue training in a number of sports at a kind of semi-professional level. So we can look at that with the students. And then obviously in conjunction with Jamie and looking at the standard the students are at as well, we can seek out, you know, where there might be sports scholarships, both in the UK and abroad. And obviously A-levels are, you know, round the world currency in terms of getting into courses, but even our International Foundation Programme, for some courses, it is possible to get, say, into the States or Canada as well, to carry on with your sport and your studies. Jamie, did you want to add in terms of the kind of support from your end?
Yeah, I think from our end, if there is a talent and an ambition to have basketball as a pathway into university, then that will be identified, and the coaching and the advice will be structured accordingly. So we do have right now 1, 2, 3. I have four young players who are at the age of between 18 and 20 who are at Manchester University. One of them 6'11", and he wants to be a teacher, but he also wants to play basketball. So his advice was to go to Manchester University and also be part of our basketball club as well. And then we've had some other young boys who've been through a college outside of Manchester, and they've come to Manchester University to actually just study and be a part of the basketball club as well. And they're all of them are very talented young people, but we facilitated them being in Manchester. Now, your students, we can also signpost them to universities, like Liz said, to Newcastle. There are other universities in the area who do have basketball programs. So it would be very exciting to hear a student who does have ambition to continue with the sport and their academics as well.
And just to add to that, it would seem that, you know, obviously we've got a lot of Manchester universities. We've got Manchester, we've got Man Met, we've got Salford. I mean, we've got Bolton Institute. We've got, you know, such a hub of universities here that obviously the Abbey journey might not finish with Manchester Giants, even if once a student's gone to university. They may come and study from age 14, do GCSEs, progress to A-levels or foundation, go on to somewhere like Manchester University, but still continue their journey with Manchester Giants after they've graduated from Abbey College in terms of education. So what we can see here is a kind of long pathway through for students that are dedicated to the basketball and to progressing, which I think is really very exciting, that longer pathway in terms of what's possible.
Can I just add to that as well, that pathway after Abbey College and being involved with the Manchester Giants also isn't limited to playing basketball. It's also a pathway that is they're going to have a proximity to a professional sports club. So that could be in event management, it could be in sports marketing, it could be, so it's not necessarily just as a player that they could actually develop opportunities in a career with the club as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. And Jamie, what you're just talking about there actually possibly leads on to a little bit from one of the other questions in terms of is there a pathway into sort of the sports as an industry?
Yes, it's so, you know, I pride myself on being able to open doors and give access to young people. I'm very passionate about that because when I was younger, I was a mentor pointed me in several directions. And there's an old saying, it's not just what you know, it's who you know as well. And I think young people today don't always have that opportunity to in their careers. So everybody has the qualifications, but who gets the doors open? So I pride myself on being able to provide that. And so with the expertise that we have at our disposal with managing directors of sports marketing companies, digital companies, David Beckham's global commercial director, these are people who will be lending advice to young people. So we will open doors for any student that is going to be involved with this basketball club. Because I think if I say it like this to the audience, is I'm more interested in what they're like outside of the sport, and I'm very interested in where they'll be in 10 years time. So if they come to Abbey at 14, I'm interested in where they're going to be when they're 24, what type of individual they're going to be, not just what type of basketballer they're going to be. I'm interested if they come at 18, where they're going to be in 10 years time at 28. And I have former basketball players that I coached when they were 13, and they're now in their 30s as teachers, as professionals in different ways. So that a big part of this collaboration is when they get to, we will not stop being in touch with them. They will be Manchester Giants alumni and Abbey College alumni. And Liz and I had a conversation where we said, wouldn't it be great to look back in 10, 15 years time and say, look where that individual is today.
That's great. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much. So Liz, another question I've got here is about how this program will help students with their workload and student pressures.
Okay, so on the face of it appears that you're more busy, doesn't it? You're doing academic studies and you're actually training every day. But in actual fact, what I tend to find is that the students who are most organised and get the routine are the students that get the most done, because they're not wasting time. So I can look now at the experience I have of, say, our football players. I can cite a number of examples. Well, you saw the case studies earlier, but also a couple of our younger students who came to us, little boys coming all the way from Azerbaijan, and they've come to us. They're in their second year now playing football. They've grown tall over the summer, but they come in every day on routine. They're there early. They start their work. They do their classes. They use their study periods to get their afternoon lessons, their remote lessons sorted. They go off to the training every day. They come back. They're absolutely dedicated. And what I see is, that the two together help to shape people to be busy people that are able to cope with everything. And that is what it is in the demands of professional jobs, that you're not just spinning one plate, you're spinning 3, 4 or 5. And I think this is where the sport combined with the academic studies works well. And of course, that's why we've developed the new sport programme, because we also can see that if people want to go into that field, then being able to concentrate their academic studies to complement their sports will also help develop them in that field as well. Whereas others, as Jamie cited, want to be engineers, they want to be lawyers, so they go down those other more traditional academic routes. And I think as well, we're able to give the students flexibility. So when it comes to a pinch point, exam time, then we can, ease off the training a bit. So they've got that time to make sure they're getting all their revision and learning done properly, and they're not getting sort of overworked. But as I say, busy people, I think, tend to get more done. And I think we can see this through the sport and academic studies training.
Okay, that's
Can
great.
I add to that, Tori?
Of course you can, Jamie.
I think what is very important is that this is about the real world and preparation for life beyond the academic world. And so sports and this program will prepare them for that. If they're going to be successful in the real world, they will have to start their day early. They will have to be organized, and they will have to handle pressure. And that is, and that will be an intention of, this is why I coach mental skills. It's the ability to handle pressure. It's not, and giving them skills and tools to do that, just like Abby will give them skills and tools academically. This combination is it's for the real world. So there's no avoiding pressure. It's actually looking forward to it, and it's preparation for life outside of Abbey, life outside of university. They will be ready for any challenge going forward, in or out of the workplace, or in or out of life.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Thank you, Jamie. That's
I want to join this program. I wish I could come back and join this program.
No, it does. I think the more and more that we all do get to hear about it, I think the more we can get sort of understand that, you know, there's a lot of very exciting opportunities for the students that are coming onto this course, and that they're there. That I think you know, the team both at Abbey College and at Manchester Giants are sort of very much there to support the students and ensure that they are sort of making the most of these opportunities that are available to them. Which really, I think I just sort of perhaps ask one more question, maybe to sort of to wind things up a little bit, about talking about the individuals here, just in terms of, do they, will on the course, I think Jamie, I think especially from the basketball, do they get a lot of individual attention, or is it more that focus on the team progressing, or the individual progressing, or a bit of both, or how does that work?
No, it's a great question, and yes, the assumption is that you think about the team first. This program at Abbey, but at the basketball club itself. So I could tell you right now, we have eight youth teams in the program, from 14s right the way through to under 21s, and they train twice a week, as an example, in the evenings. We have added individual sessions outside of those team trainings. It's almost like an extra study class, so they can improve even more as individuals. So the focus will be, before you can contribute to a team, you have to be growing as an individual. So there will be an individual focus on this program, and then you will slot into a team focus. So that is very important with this. It's not just about the team.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you very much, both Liz and Jamie, for your time. I think that's it for questions. I don't know if either of you have got any sort of final points that you want to say before we sort of say goodbye and end the call.
Liz, you're on mute.
I am on mute. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And if you've got any more questions, or you want to have an individual conversation, then we can work that through. And the same, that Jamie can talk about the basketball, I can talk about the academic studies. Thank you.
And I look forward to meeting any students in the future. If you've got questions from a basketball perspective, or a support perspective, well-being, my own experience, I went to San Francisco when I was 17 years old, and had 2 years across the other side of the world, and it was a similar situation. And I think that you know, the fact that we can create that opportunity for international students is not just exciting for the college, but it's exciting for the young person, and for the opportunity for you to provide that for the people and the families that you're working with as well.
That's wonderful. Okay, thank you very, very much, both Liz and Jamie. Thank you everyone who has attended and listened. We will drop you an email and let you have access to a copy of the presentation and the recording of the presentation as well. Okay, right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.